geography, and we are here to make sure the young people's voices are heard in this time of crisis. So, we stand together with our organizing partners at Move On, with the ACLU, with Central Virginia Sanctuary Network, with the Intercollegiate Immigrant Network. We really are excited to have all of you here. The speakers you're going to be hearing from today are Jency Paz to my right. She's our next-gen organizer who's going to tell her story and just talk about why this is so important and give us some context. We're going to hear from Lana Heathby Martinez and Jeanette Amato, both from the Central Virginia Sanctuary Network and the Virginia Intercollegiate Immigrant Alliance. So we're really excited to hear from these speakers, and we know that this is a very large crowd and it can be hard to hear, so we ask everyone, join in with the chanting. Okay, that's what I'm exactly addressing right now. It's very hard to hear, as you can already tell. So we're going to ask people to just move in, be respectfully quiet during the speakers' speeches, chant and partake as necessary, but just honor the peaceful nature of this protest and definitely clean up after yourselves when you're leaving. We're really excited to have all of you, and with that, I'm going to introduce you to Jency Paz, our first speaker.
Hi everyone. Please let me know if you can't hear me. Of my story. So, my parents are both immigrants, and when I say that, people automatically assume they're undocumented because in this country, immigrants are synonymous with illegality. Both my parents became naturalized citizens when I was 10 years old. For me, nothing was really different. My parents were still my parents. I was still me. My annoying little sister was still my annoying little sister. The very essence of who we were remained intact. Physically, all that changed was that my parents now had 2 citizenship certifications, 2 mini U.S. flags that they had been given at the ceremony, and 2 U.S. passports. I feel extremely privileged because I know that if their naturalization were happening now under Trump's presidency, it would be completely different. I feel immense and indescribable relief at not having to worry about their futures and whether I'd have to start preparing myself to be my sister's legal guardian at age 23. During my senior year of high school, I wrote my college application essay detailing all the sacrifices my dad made for us. While I still think that no one works as hard as he does, I know that the security we experience as a family is coincidence and luck. The cards were dealt just right for us, and I'm extremely privileged to have had the experiences that I've had and to be where I am right now. But how ridiculous is it that immigrants have so very little control over their futures, and consequently that of their children? This has been the case for decades and for generations of families. While we're living under a dangerous and overtly oppressive administration, let it be known and clear that migrants have always had to fight their way over numerous obstacles. The reality is that from the get-go, this country's immigration policy has always been to the benefit of white people. This nation was founded on stolen native land with the labor of enslaved black people. Man-made borders have shifted and changed, encompassing land that was previously excluded while still denying its native inhabitants access to citizenship. This country has opened and closed its borders whenever it's been convenient and to accommodate a capitalist and exploitative agenda. In the 1940s, under the Bracero program, farm and landowners exploited migrants from Latin America while government officials turned a blind eye to undocumented migration to continue supplying cheap labor. Decades later, under NAFTA, the U.S. adopted a policy of free trade and a more lenient stance on borders, but what it really meant was that it would open its arms to material goods, but continue to shut out the very people who made those goods. I've said all of this to contextualize the moment. It's not isolated. The media is currently all over the situation at the border because children were separated from their parents. Yet violence has always been perpetrated on black and brown bodies and psyches, regardless of age. Oftentimes, violence happens before people even reach the border. It wasn't until I briefly studied my own country's history, Salvadorian history, in college, that I realized that the very reason my parents were forced to abandon their lives to come to a country that has repeatedly tried to reject them is because of U.S. intervention in El Salvador. The U.S. has destabilized numerous Latin American countries and then turned away immigrants seeking asylum. DACA and TPS were steps in the right direction, though I must say they've always been small concessions because the temporary nature of protections for immigrants ignores the permanent physical, social, and emotional tolls on migrant bodies. Migration entails uprooting your entire existence, not only physically, but literally ending and forging new lives. While legal citizenship is the most secure armor against the militarization of the immigration system, it's not the only manifestation of citizenship that validates belonging. However, documented status has never stopped enforcement institutions like ICE from profiling and apprehending brown and black people. All notions and claims to belonging matter. That's why focusing the narrative on good, hardworking, young immigrants hurts us all. By centering the rhetoric of worthiness of belonging and access on typically high-achieving students, we automatically criminalize and stigmatize immigrants who are barred from access to resources necessary for success. Under Trump's administration, even the few who were protected under TPS or DACA were left unprotected. In late 2017 and earlier this year, I watched countless Dreamers fly to DC to convince Congress to pass the Clean Dream Act. I remember that it never sat right with me because it created a dangerous precedent for convincing the government of our worthiness to exist. I'm tired of seeing children and teens relive their trauma in order to get Republican representatives to validate their humanity. We should be outraged that immigrants don't even get to experience childhood. Those who come here live a life trying to prove their worthiness of belonging, while those who come here as teenagers or older are carrying the fate of their family on their backs. These communities continue to deal with the intergenerational trauma and legacy it leaves behind. Now we've let this country get to the point where children have been separated from their parents, and we still don't know how or when they'll be reunited. We need to be better allies, we need to care about the reunification of families, and we need to care about stopping violence and incarceration enforced on them after they've been reunited. We need to rally for deferred action for parent arrivals as well as DACA, because it is wrong to protect children without protecting their parents. The Trump administration has made a choice to do these things, and they are making a choice and not stopping it. There are children being kept in cages and sleeping on concrete floors. And Trump is keeping them there so he can further divide this country and advance his own agenda to make this country work only for wealthy people and large corporations. What does it say about us that our government has focused disproportionate attention on enforcement as the principal means of addressing unauthorized migration? We need long-term solutions that are morally and ethically right. No human lives are illegal. Abolish ICE, act now, and vote in November to take back the House. Yes. We all have to do our part. We have to take our friends, our families, our neighborhoods to the polls with us. We have to register every eligible voter. We have to knock every door. Next Gen Virginia has registered nearly 25,000 Virginians to vote in the past year. And we saw what happened here last November when we put the work in. We have the power to do it again. There's much work to be done, and the journey to a brighter tomorrow is long and tiresome. But whenever I feel disillusioned or powerless, I look around me to the physical marks immigrants have left on American cities. We have literally transformed the sonic, visual, and auditory landscapes. The food, language, culture, sounds, and culture remind me that we have come, we have conquered, we have created change, we have left our marks, we have claimed our land, and we are here to stay.
Let's all give it up for Genty and her messages that really spoke to all of us. Families belong together, families belong free, and we cannot have a narrow narrative about all of this. So with that, we're really excited to bring up our next speaker. She's been working with the Central Virginia Sanctuary Network, which just admitted their first resident for Sanctuary this month, which is really exciting stuff. And she has many years of experience on this issue to inform all of us about, so please give her your attention. Lana Heathley Martinez, here we come. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Who believes that families belong together? That's right. Which families belong together?
All families.
Which families belong together?
All families.
Which families belong together?
All families.
That's right, all families. I am here today instead of living in Mexico because the laws allowed my husband to naturalize 4 years ago and get a green card. He spent 10 years in this country with no documentation, and I know what it is to wait for that knock on your door that says, I'm here to tear your family apart. So I am here to say that all families belong together. Families look many different ways. We are all moved and horrified by images of toddlers in cages, torn from their mother's arms. It is outrageous that such atrocities occur.
Yes!
It is outrageous. And yet, it is not the first time that we have seen this in our country. This is not a new horror on American soil. We have seen children who are native to this land, as many of our Central American neighbors are, stripped from their families for over 500 years. Children of color have never been free. Who wants to see people be free? Now, I'm going to give you some homework. I'm going to ask you to do some reading this weekend and learn about our nation's history of tearing families apart. And I want you to listen with me to our neighbors, communities of immigrants, as they guide us to action. Let's consider together where our power lies. Let me share a story with you that is unfolding right now and invite you to participate in this movement. If you can't hear, you can live stream or on Facebook at the Virginia Interfaith Center page. On Wednesday, June 20th, a mom in our community chose to enter sanctuary in First Unitarian Universalist Church here in Richmond. This church, as a community, has engaged in collective resistance to keep a family together. Abby, the mom in sanctuary, she has a U.S. citizen child. Her husband is a legal permanent resident, just like mine. But ICE ordered her to appear so they could put her on a plane to Honduras. She came to the U.S. seeking asylum from domestic violence. Jeff Sessions declared domestic violence is no longer grounds for asylum. Is this who we want to be? No! We stand with the people who say, me too. Me too. Yes. Me too. Me too. We are together in the fight against domestic violence. Yes. Rather than leave behind her family, Abby chose to move into a church indefinitely. She is on church arrest. Nothing triggered her removal. ICE wants to deport her because they can. If you are a person of faith, ask your congregation if they are ready to be a sanctuary and keep families together. Do you need help? The Virginia Interfaith Center for Public Policy, convener of the Central Virginia Sanctuary Network, will send a team to help you. We will give you the information, we will answer your questions, we will help guide you through this process. We all need to be in collective resistance. This is how families are torn apart every day. Deportations have been going on since long before Jeff Sessions declared his so-called zero tolerance policy. Since long before Trump was elected. This will continue until we, the people, shut it down. We, the people, we have a voice. Who is here to lift your voice today?
Let's see if we can remind ourselves who we are. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop.
Say wow!
Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Say woo! Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Let's go! Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. Here we go now. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. One more time. Ain't no power like the power of the people, 'cause the power of the people don't stop. And we're done.
Take our power not just here to a symbolic place of power, but to the people who hold the power to tear our families apart or to keep our families together. There is no need to travel to Farmville. The deportation officers who use their discretion to deport moms and dads every day are in Midlothian. They are on the Arboretum Parkway. They're in our backyard. Today, they are watching phone news and relaxing with their families together, easily ignoring what is happening right here.
Cowards!
If we want them to hear our message, we need to take it to them. Ain't no power like the power of the people, but we gotta take that power to Midlothian. Now, you can sign up for our ICE accountability team at tinyurl.com/people, PPL, the ICE, to participate in strategy calls and make this happen. You can follow Abby's case on social media using the hashtag HandsOffAbby, that's ABBIE. And you can join the Sanctuary Network. Whether or not you are a person of faith, we want you to be part of this fight by signing up on our website, which is centralvasanctuary.org. Together, we can make change. The people, united, can never be divided. The people, united, can never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people, united, can never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Thank you for being here today, and I look forward to seeing you in the movement. Let's give a warm thank you to Lana for that amazing speech. And she highlighted several of the facilities right here in Virginia that are responsible for this inhumanity. We're talking about Farmville, we're talking about Shenandoah, we're talking about Bristow, we're talking about Norfolk City Jail, Williamsburg. These are facilities near you in our state, funded with our dollars and our consent. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to talk about it some more, and we're going to take action together, and we're going to hear more from Jeanette Arado with the Virginia Intercollegiate Immigrant Alliance. So here we go. Thank you so much.
I hope you guys can really hear me. I really hope. Okay, so like she said, my name is Jeanette. So at the age of 4, I remember following my father as he was preparing his departure to the United States. I didn't realize what he was doing. I did not realize that he was sacrificing his family, his country, everything, just for me and my sister, until the day that my father told us that Mexico cannot and will not give us the opportunities that the United States does. Being an undocumented student, daughter, sister, is probably one of the hardest obstacles that I have ever faced in my life. But it has not defeated me. It has not. It has kept me going. It has kept me going and fighting this broken immigration system that keeps my family in fear of deportation. I am one of those families that we may not be at the border, but we're here. We're your neighbors. We are your classmates. We buy at the same grocery store. We do everything the same, and we have the same fear of being deported, being separated. So today, I cannot stand here and not ask you to take your power. You have the power that I don't have. You have the power to vote for politicians that will represent my community, your community. You have the power. So you have the power to ask every politician, even in Virginia, to abolish ICE, to fight a system that is not based on discrimination, because the system that we are right now is based on discrimination. It's based on my skin of color. It's based on how I look. It's based on how the news is being portrayed me. I am a human being. I am. Not only that, but this should not be the only day that we come together. This should not be the only day. So from now on, starting from today, I need everybody to prepare themselves to welcome all those families that are in the border, the children, the mothers that cannot sleep at night knowing that they cannot see their children, the children that are being physically, mentally abused, the fathers that had to leave everything for their family, everything. So give me and my community the hope that we need, because the day that you stay silent, the day that you say you don't defend anybody, is the day that you stop fighting. And I need you to fight with me. I need you to fight with me. So give me the hope. Give me and my community the hope. Give me and my family the right to know that I will be with my family, that my parents will see me graduate from BCU next year, that my mom can drive without fear, and that my father can come home after 10 hours of work to see his family eat at a table. So vote, register, ask every politician if they would like their family to be separated. You have the power that I don't, the power that I need, and I need it. I need you to fight with me. So do it, and I will see everybody in the next session fighting with me. And if people ask you, if anybody ever asks you, do you know an undocumented family or an undocumented individual, tell them, I know Jeanette. I know part of her story. I know. So think of me. Think of the many families. Think of my family that I'm here. I'm here. I walk the same streets. So I'm here every time. Think of me and think of every family.
Let's just take a minute of silence for all the families who have been torn apart and traumatized by the horrible policies of this administration and this nation for too long. us to take what we heard today home with us. I want us to not leave this in this moment. I'm going to show you guys right here. We have these voter registration forms and clipboards because this all depends on continued organizing efforts, both on the issue side and on the electoral side. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring up our Richmond organizer, Isabella, to tell you how you can act right now with NextGen and in your local community to help affect this crisis.
Hello everyone, my name is Isabella Dickens-Bowman and I am the Richmond area organizer for NextGen Virginia. We're super excited to have you all here today, but it's important that our work doesn't end after this event. NextGen Virginia has been on the ground since last summer, working with every young Virginian, working to get every young Virginian registered to vote. NextGen Virginia has been on the ground since last summer, working to get every young Virginian registered to vote and ready to elect progressive leaders to every office in the Commonwealth. Because of our program last year, on 26 college campuses, we were able to register over 20,000 voters. More young people in Virginia voted last year than in any state race in history. This work that we're doing now. This year, we expect to work at even more schools and to work to unseat every congressional Republican from Virginia. Your support means more now than ever. Hundreds of you still need to commit to vote this year. Find anyone in these blue shirts, like the one that I'm wearing. They're around in the crowd, they have clipboards. Find them, commit to vote in November. Get involved with our organization. You can say that you want to volunteer with us. We would love to have you to continue doing this work. You can follow our work on our Facebook page, which is NextGen Virginia, and our national organizing program, which is NextGen America. Come volunteer with us and be a part of the youth vote movement that flips the House this year. We'll see you on campus, we'll see you in your communities, we'll see you out knocking doors, and we'll see you at the polls this fall. Thank you.
Together, families belong free. Families belong together.
Families belong free! Families belong together! Families belong free!
Families belong together. Families belong free.
Families are going to get free. Families are going to get free with your help, political and financial. If you are looking for a way to contribute after this action, you can go to La Colectiva's Facebook page. They have a fundraiser with Mi Gente going for bail and legal services. So that's one way if you're looking beyond registering to vote, beyond committing to vote, beyond committing your time to volunteer and to organize your community with us, with Central Virginia Sanctuary Network. You need to be contributing financially if you have the resources to help people who do not. Fight this fight in a meaningful way with whatever assistance you can provide. So with that, NextGen appreciates you being here. Move On appreciates you being here. We all are so grateful that you care. We need you to keep paying attention and keep caring and not let this conversation die. Take this home with you. Take home this message. We will abolish ICE together. We will free these families together, but only if each of us does our part of the work. So let's close on an abolish ICE chant and then head home. All right, so let's hear it. What do we want? Abolish ICE. When do we want it? Now. What do we want?
Abolish ICE.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Abolish ICE.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Abolish ICE.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Abolish ICE.
When do we want it?
Now.
We're going to abolish ICE together, and I fully believe that. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for being here with us.
The people.